Okay, well, good afternoon and welcome to our monthly market update. I'm Hannah Perkey, CEO of Evelo Team with Keller Realty, and I have Bob Warner, one of our top and most seasoned agents, here with me today. And we're going to be talking about what was happening in the market over the last month. So we'll jump in. So, Bob, let us know, what did July look like? What was happening?
Yeah, so we'll just get right at it. Let me get this open here. I think it seems to be a topic of the news every night, right? Is the housing market. And so I think now more than ever, people have a lot of questions, and we'll try to certainly answer those questions. I'm happy to answer any more offline as well as they pertain to our local market, because there are definitely differences between kind of our local market here in central Indiana versus looking at the whole country, right? We're starting to see some of the same things that the country is, just maybe in slower evolution. So this first slide up here, these first few are slides that we've gone through each month for the last couple of years, but the first one is the median sales price in our market. That took a little bit of a dip month over month down to 290, or last month we were at 295, but that still is up 13.7% over last year. So we expect to see that year over year growth start to go down. We had seen some 17, 18s. I think we might even have a month or two where it was 19%. So we should start to see that come back to earth a little bit, but still anticipate that's going to be a positive number moving forward. Next up, this is where we can kind of start to see where the market is making these subtle shifts, right? So this is the average days and median days on market. So the number here, this 7 is the median days on market. So that's up 40% over last month and 40% over year. So we're ever so slightly seeing that go up. And then this second darker blue line is the average days, and that's at 18. So you can see that peak starting to go up as well. Next is that month supply of inventory or absorption rate. So we've talked about this each month, a balanced market being about a 4 to 6 month supply of inventory. For the greater part of the last 2 years, we've really been between a 0.5 month and a 0.8 month. Well, we crossed 1 month, right? It's been a long time. It's actually been since January of 2021 since we've had a month's supply of inventory. So that is up almost 26% over last month, but I think the biggest one you'll see here, that's up almost 68% year over year. So we're starting to see a little bit more inventory, but if we look over here at the left of the chart where we were 5 years ago, we were at 4 months. So we're still a long way away from that, but definitely some changes. Next up, we've taken a look at that average list to sales price ratio. So we still clocked in just a tiny bit over 100%. So on average over list price, but that is down 1.1% over last month and down about 0.7% over last year. And then I threw 2 new ones in this month, starting to look at the number of closed sales on a month over month basis and a year over year basis, because I think these next 2 slides will really illustrate for us how that subtle shift in the market is happening. So you'll see that I always describe the market to people as like a roller coaster. Our highest months are from like April to August of each year, and then that hill starts to come down and then it goes up. So we've definitely kind of hit our peak last month, and now we're kind of on our downhill. That just means the total number of sales will be lower. Also means there's less buyers in the market, but we are down almost 10% from last month, and then 12% year over year. And then the last one here, I think this is the most interesting, the number of price changes for those listings that are on the market. Also price reduction, price improvement, however you might position it. You'll see we took a big spike. So that's up 25% month over month. And I think this is the biggest change I've seen, and those number of price reductions is up almost 71% year over year.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, so I think there's a big piece to be said right now about us really wanting to continue to feed this information out to the public, right? Because there's an education, what you maybe are seeing with yard signs and what's online is going to lag a little bit. People might not feel or experience it as much. So I love, Bob, that you're sharing the stats, because I think it tells the true story of what's happening. And it's really still a great market. It's just different than what we experienced last year. So I threw my hands up for 1.1 month of inventory, which is still not balanced, but it's getting back to that, which helps, buyers in the market. Still a really healthy market if you're looking at selling in that. So tell us, 1.1 versus 0.7, what's that amount of inventory really look like?
Yeah, so I'll try to go quickly on this one since we spent a little time on the others, but we've taken like a look at kind of our 5 northern suburbs. It's an area where we do a lot of business, and when we first kind of saw it falling below 500 units, we thought that was a pretty big deal. I think there was 1 month where we got down to below 150, but starting last month, we creeped back over 500. Same thing here, we're at 568. The number of homes under 250 is still low, right? There's only 17 as of today, but that's in part because our market has shifted so much with the average or the median price now being 290. We're going to see less and less homes that fall in that below 250 category. They're still out there. Those are the ones that are still selling a little bit quicker, and aren't necessarily, shifting as fast from 4 or 5 days on market to 10, 15, 20, where we might be headed with some other homes.
Okay. All right. So it being a little bit better market for buyers, I know one of the big questions that I keep having in conversations outside of work is just where interest rates and how is that right now? So we know there's a big hike as of recently. And then Bob, can you get us up to speed on where things are today?
Yeah, so you'll see this it peaked kind of a few months back at like 5.8%. Then we've kind of done this up, down, up, down. So it's been relatively volatile up and down. For the week ending last week, it was at 5.2%. So that is the lowest it's been in a bit, but still quite a bit higher than where we ended 2021. It's about a little over 2% difference between today and where 2021 ended. Relative, as we've talked about the last few months, that's still near historic lows. It did obviously take a big jump in a shorter period of time than normally happens, but still relatively historic lows. And while we certainly don't have all the information on the lending front, what we're hearing from some of our kind of local lender partners is the belief is that the peak of the interest rates has been reached, right? Certainly no one has a crystal ball to make that absolute assurance. There is going to be some volatility on a daily basis and a weekly basis and a monthly basis, but the overall general perception is that kind of 5.8 and above 6 in some circumstances was probably the peak that we've reached, and we should continue to see them come down and probably live around where they're at currently.
Yeah. And Bob, you mentioned some of our local resources. So if you receive our newsletter, it's actually going out, I believe, today. And it's an interview with a local lender and an expert on what's happening with that. If you don't receive it, you can drop your email in the comments and we'll get that out to you. But I think that will further build on Bob's answer there with a little more detail for those that want to see that. All right. So any final thoughts about the state of the market and what's happening right now?
Yeah, always kind of try to have a little piece to end with. We've talked about it at the beginning. The housing market is definitely, at least what we refer to it in the industry, is shifting, right? I've described it to clients I've met with recently, just subtle changes. We're not going to go from a 4-month supply of inventory where we were 5 years ago to that instantly, but I think we will continue to see the housing inventory increase. We are not likely to continue to see 18% year-over-year growth, but we will still see housing appreciation. So in a typical market, central Indiana and the surrounding area maybe increased in the past in the good years 4 to 6%, where the last few years we've been more like 15 to 18%. So we'll see that come down, but that's still appreciation. And so I think the key thing to leave you with there, whether you're buying or selling, it's probably more important than ever to really align yourself with a knowledgeable expert in the industry, right? These things are changing daily, changing every month. And depending on what decisions you need to make for yourself, your situation, whether you're buying or selling, reach out, let us help, and we can definitely give you a direct understanding of where things are in the market today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for prepping all of that. If you guys have any real estate needs that we can help with, please feel free to reach out. You can reach us via phone at 317-863-9011, call or text. And our team email is info@eveloteam.com. If you're in real estate and you're watching this right now and you're like, hey, tell me more about what's going on in the shift, we do have a book series that we're starting for people either getting into real estate or in real estate. So you can email us about that as well. And we'd love to invite you. And if you have any other questions, we'll be here to answer. So thanks for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.